Peace and positive. This is Amelia A. Otto, aka Emily MC, author of Y'all Not Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind. And today's topic is on protecting childhood, protecting our inner child, and imagination for better quality of life and mental health. And before we get into some clips from the global community, we're looking at how experiences, relational nouns, and social issues around childhood face both positive and negative impacts on growth and development. We're looking at children and teenagers as what should be a protected class of peoples, but also how the things which stem from or are associated with youth and childhood, like imagination, play, creativity, high energy reserves, and curiosity to learn, often take huge hits in modern society, especially and not excluding the American West. These effects often stay with us well into adulthood, coloring our sense of safety, self-esteem, self-concept, decision-making, ability to discern situational awareness, ability for healthy relationships, ongoing intellectual health, and even our basic sanity. Now, for starters, the modern news cycle has brought a lot more layered, sensitive, and deeply uncomfortable stories to the forefront, affecting everyone, including youth and children who also have access and exposure to them, whether adults discuss it with them or not, and to which many discuss with their peers and friends anyway, and away from adults. This is also because social media has given everyone a pathway to share their experiences, make statements, or enter evidence and receipts of questionable behavior and a bid for cancellation into the public discourse. From there, social media posts, screenshots, and word of mouth have the modern opportunity to spread across communities of the entire world in literal seconds and minutes. We're living in a time where the court of public opinion has an unprecedented level of access, commentary, and information long before anything legal, legislative, or political is ever uttered. Something that's always stuck out to me in political science, and they call it political for a reason, is when I learned about Alexis de Tocqueville's journals-turned-historic book called Democracy in America after visiting America between 1831 to 1832. It's wild to think that his observations are still relevant almost 200 years later. Covered by Khalil M. Habib's 2021 study called Persecution and the Art of Freedom, he recalls, Alexis de Tocqueville observed that American judgment on social issues is dominated by the, quote, tyranny of the majority, where public opinion acts as an omnipotent force, restraining individual thought and dissent, end quote. Basically, that the American point of view is not only to experience events as a collective, but also to judge them as a collective and suppress exploring matters any further, at least out loud, or now more so scattered in comment sections. And sometimes when traumatic social issues impact everyone or a disturbing or questionable revelation comes to surface, nothing official is ever done to realign or recalibrate the environmental health and psychological health of the collective conscious. Perhaps worse is that sometimes the public isn't even aware of such things going on or feels helpless to do anything about it. This is especially true when seemingly powerful energies are behind making these events seem normal, small, or benign, including entertainment and music, mainstream media, mainstream journalism, business executives, politicians, celebrities, athletes, public officials, people in positions of professional authority, even our family members, friends, and neighbors. And this is especially true when it comes to matters of ethics, morals, and sanctity around children. Children, might I add, and individuals under the age of 18 who are considered a, quote, protected class of people according to several federal agencies, entities, and international conventions, including the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, which leads the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPA or COPPA, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the U.S. Department of Education, and the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. These entities distinguish children should not be discriminated against and their welfare should be protected. But this is not the case more often than not. Now, it's been said that if everyone needs therapy, then perhaps these are not individual issues more than systemic and institutional ones. And I'm gonna need you to listen to that again, because I've been looking in the daytime with a flashlight and still have not come up with a lie spoken in that statement. You feel me? Now, many do indeed find themselves seeking counsel for processing major life events, micro moments, small transgressions, and deep-seated beliefs specifically from childhood into adulthood. And while a good number of today's adults are still trying to figure it all out, there's always a new generation being raised, or raising themselves. Now, what I am proud of is that a growing number of youth and adults have been dedicated to positive social impact in my lifetime, that we've been seeing more and more committed to being the change they want to see in the world and breaking generational cycles. And that includes not letting certain shit slide like it used to. Elder generations have also become more vocal about realizing in hindsight that some stuff just wasn't quite right and doing better by their own children and all children in their vicinity. There's also growing conversations in the importance of play, non-transactional relationships, and keeping whimsy in our lives for greater quality of life and mental health. Before I get into a slew of hip-hop references on this topic, let me say that what's dark, disturbing, and destructive about this issue also seems to roam almost freely within major media, news, and entertainment. Yet the public rarely, if ever, hears the light of resistance the same way. Nor are thought leaders in psychology, sociology, anthropology, and social science given more of a platform to speak on the harmful effects. For example, there's often slip-ins of highly questionable inclusions on major network streaming and distributed television shows. I was even horrified to discover a few in my favorite emotional support sitcoms. The irony being that the whole reason I watch those shows is because of how they soothe, relax, inspire, give comfort, comedy, and intellectual nurturing to my nervous system. Still, I found that a fraction of them have this unprotected inclusion, even if it's only one mention in a season or less than a handful over the course of over 100 episodes. That's still one or several explicit mentions that didn't need to be said, and instead went past the eyeballs and okays of several adults in positions of power who let it be said on camera and spread across the world. Now, this happens on live shows, sitcoms, and episodic variety shows, which are totally acceptable by the public and bring in millions of views regularly, and also on award shows and globally televised broadcasts. Now, someone may be wondering, what exactly are you talking about, Em? I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about, and it's usually framed as jokes, immediately followed by a pre-recorded laugh track or a live audience going along with the atmosphere of humor. Now, these include jokes about incest, forcibly raising kids in a certain way as far as gender identity and gender roles, inappropriate moments of children seeing adult body parts, and teenagers being found attractive by adults vastly older than them. This also happens through creative variations taken on children's toys, children's fashion for style, or pop culture phenomenon marketed to youth and then wordplayed into sexual or violent punchlines, which may also be aimed at a young person or framed as an inside joke for adults. Lastly, it can be found in the routine adultification of children's dialogue and child actors for entertainment. And I don't mean in the carefully presented way of television shows like Smart Guy or Webster. Now, as an MC, lyricist, and performer, I deeply appreciate creative variations on pop culture, as well as excellence in writing, literary devices, social commentary, humor. I love to laugh. But too many shows have taken a so-called poetic license against children, childhood, and the inner child. Too many have made me and several others cringe every time. Also, again, from the highly uncomfortable fact of how many approvals these kinds of jokes, dialogue, and products go through before they ever reach an audience. There's also the admission of well-known and well-paid actors who refuse to go along with such things and sometimes incur professional consequences for it. There's the case of iconic actress Kim Cattrall and the famed HBO series turned cultural phenomenon Sex and the City, following numerous reports of her not returning to the second movie adaptation or continuing series. It was cited that she, allegedly, turned down participation because, quote, the script featured a plotline where her character, Samantha Jones, received explicit, unwanted pictures from Miranda's 14-year-old son, Brady. Cattrall found this proposed storyline, often described in reports as involving the grooming or sexualization of a minor, quote, heartbreaking, end quote. And just like that, yeah, reading that was heartbreaking for so many reasons. But shout to you, Kim, icon. Fortunately, more of the public have been outraged that this was proposed and more vocally supportive of Kim's decision to turn down that role and the entire series. Let me also note that it's very understood that rites of passage and puberty themselves are huge moments in every teenager's life that deserve visible, normalized storylines. This time in life comes with a lot of questions and conversations about mind-body connection, body type, bodily changes, sensual curiosity, self-concept, self-identity, attraction, relationships, and reorienting one's sense of history or place in the world. However, there are healthy, positive, and constructive ways to go about this, even with comedy and lightheartedness, that don't need to veer into the inappropriate, destructive, negative, and traumatic. Lastly, thought leaders like best-selling author and medical intuitive Carolyn Myss have also spoken about the concepts like the gifted child versus the wounded child, and the the impact of suburban American 1950s television, like the white picket fence and all that, on society's understanding, entitlement, and expectation of a, quote, perfect childhood. Now, keeping in mind the debatable quote, nothing's perfect, regardless, a childhood shouldn't and needn't be riddled with traumatic experiences. You know, they say trauma sells, but to put it simply, as Tupac once said, so does crack. What I meant to say is that, but to put it simply, trauma isn't necessary for character building or comedy. And this is one reason why talks around ACEs and BLACEs have been having a serious rise in recent years. ACEs as in adverse childhood experiences and Black adverse childhood experiences. Now note the Oxford Language Dictionary defines adverse as preventing success or development, harmful, unfavorable. Might I add adverse as in what should not be the norm. Now, I've spoken on several occasions about the dangerous mind games and environmental threats people face, sometimes on an unconscious level, but especially present to youth and young women. At the time of this recording, we've been in a weighted public discourse about the revelations around one of hip-hop's founders in Africa, Bam. I've recently highlighted a lesser spoken element of this within the Iran-United States political conflict, which saw fit to include hip-hop in its political theater, marketing, and advertising of war activities, that child marriage is legal in both nations to a very large, very conditioned, and very unspoken scale. I have said and felt, as a survivor of sexual violence and predatory practices against children, that seeing these discourses play out, especially on social media, has revealed how many people are active or passive enablers of these realities. And as a survivor, you begin to feel surrounded by enablers. You begin to question simply, is there anywhere I can go to feel safe? Keep in mind that even for those who are healthy and well-adjusted as adults, experiencing childhood trauma can have lasting and invisible effects. It's now a well-known fact that childhood trauma can distort one's sense of time and self, including memory distortion, the ability to process imagery, and creating cycles of emotional repetition. As written by psychotherapist and clinical supervisor Santiago Del Boy for Psychology Today in 2025, complex trauma can, quote, disrupt our sense of coherence and continuity, creating a psychological split between ourself and the world. And this split can manifest in a variety of ways, including an altered perception of time and a distorted sense of past, present, and future, end quote. Now, positive takeaway I can say from all these things that made me have to grow up very fast and retain an accelerated psychology of sorts was that I also saw myself become a resource, nurturer, and protector of not just the children in my presence and the trust of their parents and guardians, but also that of people's inner child, intellectual curiosity, creative intelligence, and imagination as adults. This is akin to the term post-traumatic growth that was coined in the 1990s by Dr. Richard Tedeschi and Dr. Lawrence Calhoun. I'm proud that other adults trust me with these things, sometimes where they would not even trust a therapist, psychologist, or social worker. But you know that I gained this positive and soft skill set also through the enduring power of hip-hop music and culture, which has spoken to the wide range of this topic in every generation. But just to name a few as we close this out, here's some of that range, including artists and song titles. Now, on reflecting growing up fast and a childhood interrupted due to familial, relational, financial, and environmental circumstances, we have Ghostface Killah featuring Mary J. Blige, All That I Got Is You, Wu-Tang Clan, Cream, Wu-Tang Clan, Tears, Nicki D, Daddy's Little Girl, Mary J. Blige, Children of the Ghetto, Jay-Z, Hard Knock Life, also referencing the 1982 version of the movie Annie, which is a field day of trauma and social ills, presenting as a feel-good musical, and still one of my favorites. Pharoah Monch, Shine, Group Home, Superstar, Busta Rhymes featuring Rick James, In the Ghetto, Dr. Dre featuring Mary J. Blige, The Message, DMX, I Miss You, DMX, Letter to My Son, Tupac, Letter to My Unborn, Kendrick Lamar, Chapter 6, Kendrick Lamar, Keisha's Song, Her Pain, Immortal Technique, Dance with the Devil. On reflecting traumas of early and unplanned pregnancy, Tupac, Brenda's Got a Baby, Common featuring Lauryn Hill, Retrospect for Life, Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs, Be a Father to Your Child, Jean Grey, My Story, Diggable Planets, La Femme Fatale. On using childhood reflections or children's voices to amplify the joy and happiness of present life, Eve, Got a Man, Shawty Low, That's Shawty Low, Outkast, B.O.B., Bombs Over Baghdad, Trick Daddy, Children's Song, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Parents Just Don't Understand, Run DMC, Peter Piper. On reflecting innocence and childhood, Chance the Rapper, Nostalgia, Danny Brown, Grown Up, Ahmad, Back in the Day, Lauryn Hill, Every Ghetto, Every City. Rappers reflecting on parenthood and becoming parents, Rico Nasty, Smile, Joel Santana, Daddy, Lloyd Banks, Daddy's Little Girl, Eminem, Mockingbird, Eminem, Haley's Song, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, Growing Up, Sloan's Song, The Game, Like Father Like Son, Will Smith, Just the Two of Us, Exhibit, The Foundation, Big Crit, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Little Brother, All For You, Kendrick Lamar featuring Sampha, Father Time. And lastly, on protecting creative thinking, imagination, and optimism through darkness, a large range generally, but these specifically, Chaos, Superstar Part 0, Nas, The World Is Yours, Outkast, Get Up, Get Out, The Artifacts, Wrong Side of the Tracks, Mayhem Loren, Got the Fever, Lupe Fiasco, Mural, Lupe Fiasco featuring Jill Scott, Daydreamin', Slick Rick, Hey Young World, Notorious B.I.G. featuring 112, Sky's the Limit, Lil Sims, Point and Kill, Lauryn Hill, I Get Out, Kanye West, I Wonder, Nas featuring Lauryn Hill, If I Ruled the World, Pharoah Monch featuring Talib Kweli, Dream, Rhapsody, Imagination, and basically almost every single Busta Rhymes and Missy Elliott music video ever made, which along with a few different artists before them, paved the way for ongoing creative expansion in the likes of Doechii, Doja Cat, Kendrick Lamar, Lil Yachty, Travis Scott, Tierra Whack, Tyler the Creator, and more. Now, I'd love to highlight one more song that stands out to me for a reason, and that is Nas' Second Childhood. This song, in my opinion, is a definitive track on the social diagnosis, warnings, and results of not protecting and nurturing youth healthily and constructively. Much like Kanye West's All Fall Down, it's a subtle anthem for the end results of stunted growth and perpetual immaturity. So much of what we're looking to prevent and understand are in these songs. Emotional stability, emotional intelligence, healthy mental processing, self-esteem, confidence, competence, empathy, discipline, and ability to think for oneself. These are all things which can be severely stagnated when one has never had a constructive childhood. This stagnation can also happen to adults who never allow themselves to reparent and re-regulate what was missing, withheld, or rarely, if ever, available to them in the first place. Now, if you're following along with my original book, this is the day 16 quote from page 23 to 24. And based on today's topic, here is prompt number 17. Thank you for all your support of Y'all Not Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind. And without further ado, let's roll the clips and hear from the global community about protecting and preserving childhood, inner child, creative intelligence, and imagination for better mental health. Peace.
Now, this is something I always wanted to do. You know how when you used to be a kid and you used to drive and you see a truck and you want to do like this and blow the horn? Let me see if I can get somebody to blow the horn. Wait a minute, what happened to the traffic? Where's the traffic? Oh, okay, we got it coming this way there for it. Hey, how y'all doing? Blow your horn. Blow your horn. Hoo hoo. They ain't paying me no attention. Hey, blow your horn. How you doing? Nobody love me. Oh, here come a truck. I did it, man. I got one. Yeah.
Now listen, I know this message is gonna hit who it's supposed to, but I think it's time you go get custody of your inner child. For all 47 of y'all that's gonna view this, for both of y'all that's gonna repost it, I think it's time you go get custody of your inner child. I feel like for a lot of us, that inner child is still locked away in that place that we left them unhealed. Whether that's a house, a room, the classroom, a friend's house, wherever they was going through that bullshit, I feel like they still there, unhealed. In the adult version of you, abandoned them. Yeah, the adult version of you left them there. Not on purpose. Not on purpose. It ain't your fault. But, you know, life happens and you got to move on. But I think it's time to go right back to that place where we left them, whether it was that room, that classroom, that family friend's house, wherever they was going through that BS, wherever they was going through that trauma. It's time to go back in there and grab their hand and tell them it's time to go. You got to get custody now. It's time to heal.
As a fairly self-aware person who has fairly made peace with their childhood trauma, something that really fucked me up that a therapist once said to me was, but if you could have gotten what you wanted, what would you have wanted? Because I had said something about how I don't feel bad about the lack of emotional availability that my family had growing up because I know it just wasn't in stock. And she goes, well, okay, but what if you could have requested inventory? What inventory would you have asked for? Child, I started getting defensive. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean, what would I have wanted? What do you mean, what would I have wanted? And since then, I've had to sit with the fact that a lot of us that claim to be well-adjusted are well-adjusted because we just avoid saying what we want out loud.
I want that Barbie doll that I wanted when I was little. Also, I'm gonna give you a panic attack for no reason.
No! Put your hand down.
I'm gonna make you feel rejected and not good enough for most of the day today.
Leave the bottle alone.
What?
Leave it
What was
alone.
that?
Open your hand.
I don't have anything.
Inner child, open your hand. Now. Inner child, no! No!
I'm gonna give you a mental breakdown later and wait for you to suppress it. I'm sorry, I just don't understand why we have to healthily communicate. That's so, like, why would we do that? I suggest we go to therapy. You don't wanna do that? Oh, right. Can we journal our emotions? No? Okay.
You're some piece of work.
Why is that?
I don't have to answer your question. I'm telling you, in my judgment, and I make judgments now for 50 years, you're some piece of work. I just want to know who I'm dealing with.
Okay.
Yep. Now I know.
Stop being so fucking nice and show them how crazy you are. I don't want to act like that. That's the thing. I don't want to be that type of person. It's not about who you want to be. It's who you gotta be so people can stop their shit.
What if the reason you can't focus is because your inner child lacks structure, standards, stability, and scheduled playtime? And what if that's the reason why you fail to honor your commitments, keep your goals, or finish the projects that you ever started? Wonder if that's the reason why people don't seem to commit to you or show up for you or do the things that they say that they're going to do for you. Hold on. What if your lack of discipline to execute the things you need to execute comes from your inner teen not having the freedom and opportunity to express her authentic self? And because of that, your inner teen is protesting anything you attempt to create or expand on that does not align with who you truly are. If any of what I said just resonated with you, it might be time for you to really start the process of healing your relationship with your inner child and building your relationship with your inner teen.
Feeling the little girl in me has definitely been interesting. Something that I realized on this journey is I have always had such a huge desire to feel seen, to feel heard, and to feel validated, because as a little girl, I didn't feel those things. And so I have searched for those things in other people, and I have gotten my heart broken many a times because of that. And I realized that what I was really looking for and what I was always running from, because I always thought that there was something wrong with me, is that the little girl in me just wanted to be validated, heard, and seen by me. That I would finally be enough for me. And that all that I am is all that I need to be. And give myself the permission to move forward in love and grace.
So where I would tell somebody to start is once a week. For all the analytical people, schedule it. Find one thing that you can do that you used to love to do as a child that brought you the most joy. If you don't remember, ask somebody that was around during that time. What did I used to love to do? Oh, I used to love to play the guitar. I'm like, why did I stop? Oh, you had broken. We never bought you another one. It's because nobody paid attention. So the child then abandons the thing that they love, then focus on what everybody else, where people pay attention to. Because energy goes where energy flows. So find one thing that you can do and take your little kid out on a self-date, whether it's dancing, singing, swimming, doing visual arts, whatever, the telescope at night, whatever, playing with Barbie dolls. But it used to bring you so much joy. Take 5 minutes. I'm not even going to tell you an hour, like I do an hour. Take 5 minutes once a week and make it intentional.
Hi, Daddy. Here.
I can't get a hug. Yes, Jenny.
Hi, Daddy.
Okay, this is for little. You're so nice.
They're at home. Hi.
Just Chloe.
Hi,
Chloe. What's up, gang? Hi, buddy.
Yeah.
Hi, Devin.
Hi, Mommy. Listen.
Daddy!
What's up?
You can put the cowboy hat back on.
Hold on, big man.
Come on, why is he crying?
And he just woke up.
Chloe, where'd you get the steak from?
What's up, hero? What's up? Is he tired? He just woke up.
What you been doing? Hi, baby.
You were not a fat little boy.
No, I'm
On your interviews, you always
fat
say...
older boy now, but...
No, that's muscle.
Sure is. My mom says I'm pumped, man.
Is that a fat little boy?
No, it's a marionette. Look at that.
That is not a fat little boy.
Look at that face.
He was brilliant scholastically,
But it wasn't very funny.
but not very funny. Very serious.
Mother was funny then.
She also had a wonderful sight gag we can't do here where she cuts a rubber band in half and goes... That was
Yeah, that's delightful.
Yeah, that's the one that drives my father like, that's it, I can't believe it. I'm not telling you where I'm going. Oh, Mom, you're going to do this. Oh, no.
I learned from the OGs too. You know, me and Run was talking one day, and he was actually talking about giving his daughter a allowance.
Okay.
And I'm like, still? He's like, oh, it never stops.
Right.
I said, oh, I just hung my head and said, okay, I guess but you know, it's part of my social experiment. And when you take a step back and you look, it's how people do it. It's how they make sure that the kids are good. They make sure that they're set up in life properly. They make sure that they can be successful in life. They set them up for success. And so, you know, I'm learning these things. Where I went to high school and where my kids went to high school is night and day.
Right.
You can't cut school in Saddle River. You laugh because you know what I'm saying is real. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
And me, I was allowed to leave school every day. No calls home. Even if you got a call, it was vague. It was whatever. Nobody was looking for me. You know, if one of my kids were not to go to school, there would be like a full-on, this child is missing.
Right.
You know, he's just not at school today. You know, so it's very different.
I'm sure that you're bringing in some things from the past and kind of, you know.
I'm a really, really good parent, I think. Because I'm a new way parent. My way of parenting is teach them, give them the tools, give them the guidance, but also give them the rope.
Right.
You have to let them be them. You have to give them the rope, you know, in essence, to do wrong, to give them room to fuck up. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the crutch, you know, I'm gonna be here. Not, you know, I don't want you to get in any trouble, but you should want to go out and experience life and you know, live your dreams and go after whatever it is you want to go after.
Met him when I was 16. We were off and on for some years. That's way too young now in hindsight, but you couldn't tell me that.
I'm glad
then.
you said it.
Yeah, it's way too young.
Yeah.
But I thought I was grown.
Of course you did.
And I thought, because this is the same girl who's living on her own. When I met him, I was already living in Paris. Yeah. Then I came to New York.
Now I kind of understand why you accompanied your kids on their fittings, because I've had both of your girls in Good American Campaign.
Oh, for sure.
Who turns out? You.
Well, and that was years ago.
Kamara.
No, that was years ago.
But it was amazing to me.
Like when I met you, that was...
Yeah, you would chaperone that. This is 8 years ago. 7, 8 years ago?
At least, yeah.
And
Ming
you
is
came
26.
into the office and sat down and you were like, Emma, show me the looks that you've pulled.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, put the booty shots away and give
And
me
you were
some.
like, we have this and we have that.
You were like, nope.
So yeah, I go with my kids everywhere because I've learned this the hard way.
I wanted to talk to you about your girls because you're all in the limelight. And I wonder like how you're thinking, like how you teach them, how you talk to them about business. Is it a conversation that you have?
Yes, my kids and I are very close. We talk every day if they're traveling, of which now they're both traveling. They both graduated from college. Ming went to NYU. Yoki graduated from Harvard. She got in.
Smart girls.
Yeah, she got in like 4 years early. I think she was accepted at 15.
I mean, that's crazy.
So she graduated Harvard at 18.
Do you think you protect them from things that they've perhaps never needed to think about, or do they face very similar challenges?
No, a little bit of both. They definitely face their own challenges. I mean, you could look up and see them dating or doing businesses or I let them go. You don't have a choice because they're adults. Ming is 26 years old. Yoki's 23. They're old enough to think like, I could do what I want and you can't tell me, but like not old enough to like pay for all the mistakes that you could get into. So you need your mom.
How has being a parent made you reflect on how you were treated in the industry back in the day?
That's tricky. So from when I was in the business to when they were in the business now was like, we've gone through like movements, you know, we've gone through like Me Too is a big one. And I
was that one.
have lived that. You know, I didn't have any personal issues of my own, but obviously people very close to me have.
You know what this lady told me that's so freeing to my soul? She said, stop trying to save face and not tell your children what's really going on. And see, for example, y'all be married or y'all was married or y'all co-parenting with somebody who y'all know is no good for your child, who y'all know have done things towards your child that you know might not have been safe or anything else, but instead to give them a fake facade, you'll say, oh, well, they this and they that. You could say, oh, this parent loves you, but y'all need to make it clear, because if not, you send out a bad message that it's okay for your child to go places where somebody is not safe, where somebody's not wanted, and that you would let them go with them. You will relinquish your safety so that they can go with said person, no matter if it's a parent or not. So y'all need to stop lying to your children, because then y'all children understand that, and it messes up their relationships when they become adults. A lot of black women do this. Oh, your daddy, he loves you, he da-da-da-da. You say, if somebody is a danger, it should not matter if that's their daddy, your mama, their grandmama, it does not matter. It is your job. It is your duty to give them the information that they need so that they can survive, whether you on this earth or not. Whether it's a survival of mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, okay? Financial, anything. It is your job. And in our community, it's something so sickening about that, to try to protect the other parent. You like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to do it. But they'll figure out when they get older. By that time, they have already developed what their emotional character is, what their emotional compass, their moral compass is.
I taught my son to be tough, and now he won't talk to me about anything. When he was little, I told him to be strong. Don't cry. Get up. Be a man. I thought I was teaching him how to survive. I thought I was preparing him for the world. I didn't realize I was teaching him to shut down. Now he's older, goes through things, heavy stuff. And when I ask if he's okay, he just says, I'm fine. Even when I know he's not. It's not that he doesn't feel. It's that I taught him not to show it, not to talk about it. And now I'm trying to unteach everything I drilled into him, because I'd rather hear him cry than wonder if he's suffering in silence. I thought I was doing the right thing. But looking back, I wasn't raising a man. I was silencing a boy. I told him to be tough. Now he's hurting quietly. And I'm the reason why.
Your children need to know that there are people out here who will kill them. Do you remember that scene in The Incredibles, where Mrs. Incredible had to tell her two children when they were in there to try and save their father, that they were not getting ready to play with them, that they would absolutely kill them if they were given the chance to, and they had to lock in and not allow that to happen. It was serious, and it was an intense scene, one that we really didn't forget because it's something different than what we are used to seeing in a child's movie. That is exactly how we need to be educating our children. I remember, it's been some years back, I was a bit more aloof with my children, and my reins were a lot looser until it was brought to my attention by someone that I trusted, and I took heed to that, and I locked in. My reins are much tighter. We do not have the luxury of allowing our children to just be completely oblivious, and that whole let kids be kids where they don't need to know anything about the world that they live in. I believe that is making our children easy targets. Your children need to know that there are people out here who will not hesitate to kill them, who will not hesitate to take them and cause them great harm, especially now that a lot of what plenty of us have been saying is going on, it's actually coming to light with the e-files, that it is actually happening. We as parents cannot afford for our children to go out here and be easy targets. They need to know, they need to be alert, and they need to always be aware that danger is everywhere. And I know for some parents that might be sad. It's not fair to them that they don't just get to be just these innocent little children who have no idea the seriousness of the world in which they live. To me as a parent, that is irresponsible. That is irresponsible to send your child out in the world when they are not within your eyesight, believing that nothing bad can happen to them. And I'm not talking adding sprinkle and sugar to it. No, you have to actually put a little bit of fear into your children so that they understand the severity and the danger that we are talking about. Because when you consider the amount of children that go missing in America and globally every year, and then to find out what is actually happening to a lot of those children, I'm not sugarcoating anything with my kids. From my 7-year-old, my 9-year-old, my 11-year-old, and my 12-year-old, they know. We had to sit down on YouTube and I showed them a compilation of children being snatched from public places. And I needed them to understand that when I leave and I go somewhere with you and I take you with me, I need you to understand what some people will do to you.
We got to get some morals back jumping in these households because this shit is crazy. My kids think I'm mean because anything that they do, I be on their ass about it. Like, right. You know, I'm Warren G, but I'm a dad at the same time, and I got to be on their ass. It's like, you guys going to have to understand there's morals here. These are the things that I had to go through. So I'm teaching you guys this stuff so y'all don't be lost. Right. You know, and know how to move, and then you know how to have, know how to have a family, know how to teach your kids shit, not having them all over the internet cussing and shit. Like that, going viral, fuck all that shit. That shit is stupid. It's making us as a people look stupid.
Having a child change your whole mechanism. Like I'm cooked. I'm the softest, meanest, whatever. I don't know. I'm just like in this space, growing with a little broke homie. Yeah. Trying to just figure out this process together and learning and just seeing love, bro. Like. Love like personified, like, you know what I'm saying? You know how you love your mom and all of your parents and stuff, but when it's yours, it's like, oh, it's a whole different bag, right? And this is very important. It's very serious. I got to keep you alive every day. I have to teach you morals and sound, and all of the stuff like that, bro, that come with it. And it just put a whole nother plate on the table, literally and physically. Yeah. I mean, literally and whatever. But yeah, bro, it's just a whole nother thing. I'm not the same Jid. Like, I'm not the same JID. I might just change my name. It's like Destin now. I just gotta go by the real person now. Like, fuck all the rap shit. Like, let's just, you know what I'm saying? But no, it's a blessing, bro. I've never felt no blessing like this before in my life. So that even goes into me not fucking around with God is like ugly and all that. But it's like, no, bro, we on some. We praying before we go to sleep. Right. Before we eat, when we wake up, we instill in certain like confidence and just manifesting things over his life, and you know what I'm saying? It's just a whole different little bag.
Watch this video, then we'll talk.
I don't think many adults have actually thought about what it's like growing up right now with everything we've learned about the files. Because for you, it's a news story. It's something you can debate about online and turn off the TV and go back to your normal life. You can compartmentalize it. But kids can't, because the files don't talk about abstract problems. They talk about kids our age. When we hear adults arguing about it, minimizing it, or pretending it's just another headline, it doesn't feel distant to us. It feels personal. And a lot of parents think their kids are protected from hearing about it because they don't watch the news or have social media. But that's not how information works. Kids talk. We hear things from each other in the hallway, at lunch, and even outside of school. There's literally a computer game kids pass around during class called Five Nights at Epstein's. So many adults act like this conversation is happening somewhere far away on the internet, in politics, and in courtrooms. But it isn't. It's happening on playgrounds. Even my 9-year-old sister has already come home from school hearing about it. And the strangest part about growing up right now isn't just hearing about these things. It's watching adults react to them. Because when we see adults stay silent, or when we watch people in power avoid certain topics, or when we hear grown-ups argue about whether it's really that bad, kids notice. And when kids see adults stay silent about things that hurt children, we don't assume you're neutral. We assume you're dangerous too.
And she's right. And she's absolutely right. And those adults honestly should not be trusted, is what it is. Kids, children, regardless of if you think that childhood ends at 15, 16, 18, depending on what country we're in, we all know when we have a child in front of us. Children are the least protected, marginalized group on the planet. There are no children's rights groups led by children. There are no children in seats of government advocating for children's rights. All they have are the adults that happened to birth them. And that's really a coin toss.
The erasure of Black girls' childhood. And it has been living in my mind for the last couple of days. Based on the survey, compared to white girls of the same age, survey participants perceive that Black girls beginning as early as 5 years of age need less nurturing, less protection, less support, less comfort than white girls, and that they are more independent. There's more to it, but this is where we're going to stop for the conversation. That adults perceive Black girls as young as 5 as needing less nurturing, less protection, less support, and less comfort. All of this leading to the adultification of Black girls and Black boys. Adultification being the process or fact of treating or considering a child as if they are adults.
You ever wonder why some kids get to be kids and others get treated like they're grown when they're barely out of pull-ups? Yeah, that's not new. It's not accidental. It's historical. And it's disgusting. Let's talk about how America built an entire system that treats some kids like innocent angels and others like full-grown threats before they even hit middle school. Adultification is when children, especially those that are Black, brown, and poor, are treated like they're more mature, more responsible, and more dangerous than they actually are. It means people expect them to know better when they mess up, punish them harder, assume they don't need protection, view them as mini adults instead of kids that need guidance. It's why Black girls get suspended at higher rates for dress code violations. It's why Black boys are seen as threatening at 10 years old while their white counterparts are seen as rowdy. It's why police show up to discipline 6-year-olds instead of counselors. This didn't just happen. It's been designed over centuries.
You know who don't get enough credit? That person that our inner child feels safe to come out around. That person that brings the inner child out of us. That person that we can see our inner child just sitting there playing because they feel safe. They feel seen. They know they're not in any kind of danger. Y'all, we don't give these people enough credit. These people do not get the love and recognition they deserve.
I can see my wife's inner child, little girl in her, every day. And I know that may sound weird to some people that don't really believe in love or all that gushy stuff, and that's okay. This isn't for you. But the way I love my woman is how I would show up for her if we were just kids. I love her freely. I love her for who she is. And she's so gorgeous that it's hard not to love her heart. It's hard not to love her being, love her presence. And I tell her every day, I say, man, I see the younger you every single day. I even asked her mom, I'm like, yo, like, I couldn't really tell she was an amazing child. Like, she was a beautiful child.
Well, I don't make my work for you to interpret it. I make it for Black young people so that they can understand that we are at war, that we have to be strong-minded, that we have to be productive, that we have to be unafraid of expressing ourselves and getting what we want in this society.
But isn't there a danger in telling young people, encouraging them to be militant? Aren't you taking them down a track that can only lead to a cul-de-sac and at the same time alienating a lot of people who really don't understand or accept or even grasp that militant language?
Well, what most people who know my work know is that I don't only teach young Blacks to be militant, I teach them to be intelligent, substantive, to make analysis. I think that America has to stop painting young Black people as being uncivilized and irrational.
Kendrick just kind of came in at a time where hip-hop needed a little bit of creativity, a little bit of difference of what we've been hearing all the time. And, you know, Kendrick's not necessarily somebody that's making music for the clubs. Yeah. Kendrick just makes great, incredible, thought-provoking hip-hop. Yeah, that's, you know what I mean? And that was a part of it coming up. There was a part of hip-hop that the lyrics and wordplay and, you know, mattered. Not just a beat that anybody can get on and make it dope, you know, song. Not just because the producer's dope, it was because Kendrick's dope, and the type of beat that he's rapping, he made it dope. Yeah. See, not too many people can do that. Not too many people can rap and make a beat that you would probably skip over. You probably wouldn't even pick that beat, and he makes the beat.
Imagination is your greatest individual power that you possess. Because when you use this thing here to see pictures of a reality that doesn't exist out here, it's the beginning of what we call creation for yourself. And when you believe that the pictures that you see, that you are worthy to experience for yourself, you activate a process that becomes something that you don't have to do besides continue to paint, continue to participate, continue to work the vision. And in that continuation, people come into your lives. You get insights, data downloads from your spirit. So many things begin to happen for you that you will say, oh God.
And bring it to the present. Imagine a future event that you want to acquire. Meaning that when I was doing the work that I was doing before I was here, I had to develop an imaginational thought to get me here. And I had to align with them thoughts to get my desire that I wanted. And you could do that with anything you want in life, literally. Long as you can see it in your mind, you can manifest it in the physical reality. Seriously.
Your imagination is way more powerful than you could even fathom. Your current reality is based off your imagination. Because if you put more time in the spiritual realm, you'll be able to feel emotions that you never even thought you could conjure without experiencing a physical circumstance. You can experience it right now by laying down in your bed and imagining where you want to be. I'm going to drop an in-depth video about this because it is truly amazing. I'm fresh out of that meditation right now. Life is truly beautiful. I just did everything I've ever wanted in my life within seconds. And I felt the exact same emotions and excitement that I would feel in real life. It's truly beautiful.
It doesn't have eyes. It can't see. Your brain can't see anything. Your brain is blind. Your brain is completely blind. It can't see anything. All it can do is feel. It can only feel things. So when you are imagining something, let's say you're imagining something that makes you extremely happy, that makes you extremely excited. You are imagining that thing, that dream coming alive. You are feeling it. Every part of your body feels it. You're feeling excited. You get all the emotions. Your brain does not know the difference if this is actually happening outside of you or you're just imagining it.
Your imagination is you getting a preview of the quantum field, what's available in the realm of the invisible. And so when you're imagining, you're doing the opposite of being attached to what you already see. So what we're seeing is really old energy that is manifested. So it's actually really unproductive to focus on that, because when you're in your imagination, you are attuning yourself to this picture that you want to become your real reality. That's where the manifestation begins to occur. So the more I look at what is, so what's physically manifested, I'm just going to get more of that. That's just how it works. But if I go in my imagination, what's happening is I'm becoming bigger. I'm allowing myself to believe bigger than what is already present. And when you really think about children and how they behave, they want to make believe, they want to do dress up. They're living in this world of their imagination, and it's because they know that life is just a game. As adults, we've forgotten that. So we get serious, we get responsible, we get just overly hyper masculine in terms of action and productivity, performance really. And we all need to really begin engaging our inner child, because that is innocent co-creation with the universe.